Hello, Tamily. It's time for our 110th Ask Tamily interview. I cannot believe it's 110! That's amazing. Our guest for today is Lean Kylene, and I'm just checking. She doesn't have any numbers on her Instagram name, so we'll call her Kylene. But her Instagram name is lean_Kylene. And we will be getting connected with her in just a second. Oh. Should be connecting in one moment. This is the moment of suspense. Every family interview. We just connected in our test and it went totally fine. We do have some questions planned for Kylene, of course, but it's really the most fun if all of you will type questions in the chat. So please do that and we'll make sure to get to all of them. I'm not sure why she's not connecting. Okay, she seems to be there. Kylene, I sent you another invite because the other one I guess expired or something. There we go. Hello. Can you turn your phone to the side or do you want me to turn?
Let's see. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah.
Thank you. The lighting is fantastic, by the way.
I switched my view. So
good. It's perfect. Thank you for joining us, Kylene. We're so excited for you to be our 110th.
Excited to be here.
So we have, of course, some questions for you, and we always like to start with our favorite question, which is when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
So my sister, who a lot of people you guys know, is Katie Instatam. That's her handle. And she's been doing TAM for a super long time. And she's been on all of her sisters to get involved for many, many years. And about 2 years ago, I think, is when I was like, okay, let me just see what's going on. Let me try this. And so I would say it's been over 2 years, but like, I don't think I started streaming until I think September or October of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you start with any DVDs before streaming?
Okay. No, you know, when I was pregnant with my kids, Katie would always tell me, you need to do her pregnancy workouts. You need to do her, after one. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I never did. So I actually have the DVD at my house and I never used it. So
that happens to a lot of us before we really dive in. What made you choose the Tracy Anderson method versus another fitness method ultimately?
So I've been in athletics for most of my life. I grew up playing soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, and then track. And I ran track all the way through college. And I was kind of just beat up. My body was so beat up. And then and I had a lot of problems with my Achilles tendon. And so after college, I actually had surgery on that. And then, so it's better-ish now. But and then I got into triathlons, like short ones, like sprint triathlons. But ultimately, everything just hurt my body all the time. Like I was just beat up from everything.
You're an athletic star.
So I decided to go ahead and try it because Katie told me, she promised me that it wouldn't hurt me like some of the other stuff I had tried. And I'd even tried doing, weightlifting with my husband. He used to do powerlifting, so I did some of that, and that didn't work very well for me. So I started with the Tracy Anderson method, and realized that it didn't really hurt me as long as I was very careful with my sciatic nerve in my back.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Like the, the Tracy Anderson method, like, takes care of your body, like, versus some things can really just kind of exacerbate problems, I guess, versus maybe resolving them.
yes. I think that well, for me especially, I had 2 C-sections with my kids, and so my core is extremely weak, which is why. And then I have an old cycling injury from my back, and so I feel like it's helped me really kind of find those muscles in my core again, and kind of start really strengthening and helping me. So, but it's been exciting because I haven't, it's the longest I've stuck with something post college and school where I had to do it. It's the longest I've actually stuck with something for fitness wise.
So, what kind of results have you seen, like maybe in the beginning to now after 2 years?
So I'm going to be real super honest. I have not been the most consistent dreamer. I will go through periods of being very diligent, and then I'll go through periods where I'm not as consistent, and I maybe only do it 1 time a week. So I will say that when I'm more consistent, which is at least 3 to 4 times a week, where I really, really notice the most results for me is in my abs, my stomach area, just kind of those nice Tracy lines on the sides, right? And that's kind of been my biggest area. And then also, I guess my arms will lean out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a big difference with, other fitness methods. Like, you can be lean, but your arms get so bulky with other, methods. That's definitely a huge Tracy benefit.
Yeah, it's so it always brings me back to, keep doing the method, and not slack off as much. And yeah, so, but to be real, I'm not super, I go, like I said, I go through periods of consistency and then not so consistent.
It's important to be real. We all have those kind of things that happen. I think it's great when we have an interview where someone doesn't say, like, oh, I do it 7 days a week and it's no problem.
Yeah, I did try to do like 5 to 6 times, and it's not what is right for me and my body. It just, I get, like, I can feel it in my back a little bit too much, so I have to kind of pace myself. So
makes sense. Yeah, we all have to do what's right for us. And like Tracy said, listen to our body with an honest conversation.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Who in the Tamily inspires you?
There's so many, and I wrote them down, and I left the piece of paper in the other room. Obviously my sister, Katie, she's a big, huge inspiration. There's a lot of others that, I've kind of followed and really kind of been inspirational over the years. Emily Hansen, I think, is one of them. And then, there's others though that maybe aren't as widely followed that I still really, well, I know Melissa Lloyd, she's one that really is very inspirational. And then, I'm probably going to get this handle wrong, but I think it's Vaish Tam.
Okay.
She just had her 3rd child, but she's consistent. She did through the pregnancy, and she's just kind of inspirational because she's just consistent and out there and doing her thing, and that's really kind of cool. And then Aldecan, I think that's, I can't. She's always, yeah. She's and then she just joined Kristen. She's another one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big inspiration. Then I also find a lot of inspiration in your posts as well.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I've always watched you from you were from when I started in the method, and it's just, your story is very inspirational for me too. So
thanks. I'm just doing all this to get inspiration from all of you. It's such a reciprocal community.
Yeah, it is.
So how do you personally get and stay motivated to work out regularly or keep, fitness as a number one priority?
Um, so my two boys, I think, are my biggest inspiration. I want to be able to keep up with them as they get older. They're big baseball fans, players. They're 8 and 5, so they keep us busy. My husband is also like probably the most consistent workout person I've ever known. He's super consistent in what he does, so that helps me. I tend to struggle in this area though with consistency and staying on time. But I will say that I definitely feel better when I do work out, especially with Tracy's method. So as long as I can keep that going. Unfortunately, what happens with me is things, life, work, it gets away, and then I just choose not to make the time. So that's where I struggle.
But I mean, sometimes, you might just need some time away, sometimes to do something different. I mean, too, like, yeah, life, work, children, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm just tired. I'm so tired. And it's a little bit hard to find sometimes the motivation to go out, especially I'm here in Texas. So like yesterday it was 105 where we were at. And I work out in the summer, and except for when, like in January, February, when our cedar pollen is really, really high, I work out in the garage. So it's a little hard to get the motivation to go out that kind of heat with at least 50 to 60% humidity naturally. So
yeah, that's like more intense than a Tracy studio.
yeah, I don't have to use the heat or humidifier during most times of the year. I do turn it on in the winter when I'm outside, but not right now.
105, that is crazy.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to someone that's new to the Tamily or new to the method?
I think for me, one of the things I struggled with initially was, I was watching everybody do their workouts and streaming, and I got a little intimidated because, you see a lot of people that will post, the advanced, right, the advanced method. And so I kind of started down that lane because I was like, yeah, I can do this, totally can do this. And I was like, maybe I should actually like build up my strength first, get used to the form, the technique. And so after trying the advanced method for a couple different months, I realized that I probably needed to drop back down to beginner. And then I've kind of gone back and forth, up and down. So I think what I would say is that it's okay. Go up, down, stay in your lane, do what you need to do. Even if you're consistently up in the advanced lane and you're just tired and you want to do something, go down to beginner. But I'll tell you what, I took a little bit with work and everything and deadlines, I took a little bit of a break. And then when I came back, I was like, man, beginner got really hard. Yes. I'm like, maybe it's just because I took maybe too much time off, but
oh, it's difficult.
Okay. Yeah. So, but no, I think and I think the other thing is just to not be intimidated by seeing all the more advanced maybe workouts, and just know that there's lots of other people doing beginner or intermediate.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And it's okay. You got to do what's best for you. And the other thing is, like, I would start in advanced and then be like, this is so hard. And so my first inclining was to just stop. And then I realized, well, no, I can either just do half, or I could switch down and start over. And
yeah, I think that's a really, like, I don't know why it's such a tough lesson. I guess because, you want to like do the highest level that's possible, but that's like, you have to let go of that and be okay with yourself about where you are, and know that all of the workouts are crazy difficult.
Yes.
You're not like popping out by doing a lower level. They're all very tough.
They are. And, like sometimes I would see some of the really popular moves or the cool things, especially like my thing, I love to do the headstand moves. probably just from my gymnastics background. And so I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then by the time we get to that move, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really tired.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and honestly, like, I think advanced, intermediate, and start have all gotten just more difficult, and it really is, especially in the beginning, good to learn the form and even the pace, like, and build that balance in your body before you're trying to do advanced, even if you've been an athlete for decades.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is if you're used to doing athletic stuff, this is like a completely different ball game. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. What would be your advice maybe to someone that's not new, but they're not feeling motivated at the time?
I guess what I would say, like what I do, is just kind of look back. Like sometimes I'll look back through my posts just to see how I've progressed, or watch my form, and that kind of helps me remember, hey, I really do like doing this, and get back out there, and I haven't posted, I don't think, since May, mostly just because I've been extremely busy with work, but I still have been doing the method. So I think it's also okay to know that you don't have to post all the time. It does take a lot of extra time, to edit, figure out which moves you want to do, crop it, post it. So
Yeah.
once I kind of got over not being okay with not posting all the time, it kind of helped me not dread doing it, because I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta allocate the time to this, and I gotta allocate the time to do the videos. And
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's kind of funny that we put that pressure on ourselves, like, about posting. I mean, it's okay to go, like, time frames where you don't post, and then maybe time frames where, like, it's really fulfilling or something to post every day or to post every few days. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to, like, associate a bunch of negative things with trying to work out.
no, but I do think does help, to post every so often, just so you might have a way to go back and look and give yourself motivation from yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. What kind of challenges have you faced in doing the method?
I think really making sure that I'm really mastering the form, and getting through, making sure that I'm doing the form properly throughout every repetition, because I noticed, especially up in intermediate and advanced, when I have the heavier leg weights on, that I maybe tend to try to cheat a little bit, and then when I do that, I realize that it's not good for my back. So I have to. That's probably my biggest struggle, is just making sure that I'm doing the form properly, that I'm watching the breakdown, and really understanding how Tracy intended us to do the movements, so that I don't aggravate that area.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a great point too.
yeah, and I think also sometimes I have to be, because I'm on the computer for work all the time, I also have to be very cognizant of, my shoulders and my wrists, and making sure that I'm protecting them, and doing properly, like lifting through your core, and not putting all the weight into your shoulders and your hands. And so that's where I struggle, but it's good, because it keeps you mentally engaged in what you're doing in the workout.
And I think that's a good watch out too for, like, if you're doing a level that's too advanced, if you can't do the, like, proper form to do it, then you can realize, like, okay, I need to step back, even if it's just for a week or two or something. Like, sometimes there's just some moves that it's like, no, that's not going to fit for my particular body or strength or flexibility or whatever it is.
Yes, and that's what I've kind of been doing since July. Yeah, I really just said, you know what, I'm gonna kind of just ignore these cool moves that they're doing and all the stuff with the chair, because I think it's really cool. But I'm gonna stay in beginner, because I really need to focus on the form. And I also really want to try to be able to complete all the repetitions before I move up to the next level.
Yeah, that's an excellent point too. So we have a question in the chat from,
Okay.
and the question is, what is it about this method that has intrigued and hooked you? The leg lifts, the no talking, the clearing of the mind. Oops, did I just lead the witness?
You kind of did, but it's really the clearing of the mind and the no talking. You know, at first I thought that's kind of weird. Like, why is she not cueing us? What's going on here? And Katie was like, just keep trying it. Just don't, you know, don't have a negative attitude. And once I maybe did it like 3 or 4 times, I was like, you know what? Being cued is annoying. Like, I just want to do this, and it helps you stay focused with, you know, watching Tracy or any of the trainers, and really just focusing on yourself and how you're supposed to do it and correct yourself. I write that, and I find it's mind clearing to help, just so that you really focus and you're not waiting for her to cue you. That's really
Yeah.
I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, no, I cannot imagine someone telling me what to do or how many, or like that I'm doing a good job even. Like, I don't want anyone to speak. I just want to follow her. It's like your brain is working in a completely different way when someone is telling you, especially with the number of reps and stuff. Now I find that stuff so irritating.
Like the countdown, just 5 more.
Yes.
No,
Like,
yeah. I mean, you kind of know as you do it through the week. You kind of start to know, and
yeah.
I'm a numbers person, so sometimes I can't help but count, and then I'm like, oh, she didn't do the same amount, but I've kind of let that go and just really focus on the movements. And if I do that, I just forget about the counts anyways. So
Yeah. I find I only really count when I hate the move.
yes, that's so true. Like, oh, when am I gonna be done?
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. And then I'll give up before her, especially when she does like 40 reps.
Yes.
What is your favorite thing about the method?
I think it's a couple things. I think just what we were touching on about the no cueing, I really like that. But I also like that it gives a lot of flexibility. You can go up, you can go down, you could just do the arms if you wanted to, you could just do the mat workout if you wanted to. And I really like the community that it has brought together for the large group of women that follow, and it's a very positive community. And so I feel like that's a big part of why I've stayed with it as well. It's just to have the nice kind of community and know that there's lots of other women out there maybe having the same struggles, or, you know, just trying to figure it out. And so it's been nice. But I do also like how it helps me feel, and then the physical results as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes the whole package, but I think the community is like what can keep people engaged. Because I mean, it's hard to find, like, you know, a million gym buddies. I mean, somebody's always been fall through. But at least with the Tamily, you know that you have tons of motivation and inspiration available.
Yeah, and it's not like at at the gym where you feel like maybe somebody is like watching you or judging how many repetitions you do. I feel like there's not a lot of judgment here at all, and so that kind of makes it nice to not be as scared to post, even if you're posting not the advanced workouts, which I want to try to start doing more, just so other people can see that it's okay to stay in beginner.
Something that's so amazing, because I mean, especially in online communities, it's like there's so much negativity. Like, I cannot get over the fact that people aren't like, oh, you're doing that move wrong, or like your leg should be higher, or you don't belong in that level. Like, no one ever does that kind of thing.
No, not unless somebody asks, like, hey, does it look like I'm doing this right? And then people will be very helpful. But no, there's no like just shaming or jumping in that you see in some of these other groups, which is really nice. That's really nice.
Well, my next question for you was going to be, do you do dance cardio? And then Kristen posted in the chat, when you're together, does Katie make you dance? So you can answer both of those.
I would love to be able to do dance cardio on a regular basis, but unfortunately I just cannot. My Achilles does not, it just doesn't. And also to some extent my back too. But when Katie is in town, you've probably seen sometimes I will do a little bit with her, but then I really pay for it for about a week after.
Well, she is definitely one of the dancing queens of the Tamily.
She is, and she's very inspiring in that, and I would love to be able to dance like she does, but I just can't. And I've even tried like the low impact, and it just doesn't work. So I stick to like riding my bike or using our rowing machine or walking. I started walking again, so yeah.
Yeah, I just like to watch the dancing queens, and that inspires me to do the mat workout.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, that's really good.
So at this point, do you do attain, fundamental, start, or combination?
Right now, I'm doing start. I just feel like because I haven't been as consistent, I really need to start at that level. Plus, just with with the kids being home virtual school for the last, they finished the school year and then being home for the summer, I just didn't have a whole lot of time plus work and deadlines to really devote to anything other than start, because it has the lower, the less time on it. So that's kind of where I've been. I probably will be there for a little bit longer just because it's gotten harder, I feel, and I need to really kind of work on that method. But I kind of skipped fundamental. I haven't done much in that space. So once I'm done, I feel like I'm ready to move up. That's where I'll go. I'm not going to go right to advanced like I did before.
Well, and honestly, like with fundamental, there are definitely some advanced moves. And especially like how Tracy's lately been saying, if you use the heavy weights, then you consider it advanced and stuff. And I mean, to me, I don't know, that could be a level I could stay in forever. I mean, and there's people that have been doing the method for 10 years that do fundamental. So, I mean, it's definitely a serious, complete workout. And I mean, it just goes back to your point that you shouldn't feel bad about whatever level you need to be in.
No, yeah.
So at this point, what is your routine and how do you fit your workout into your life?
Well, so I still haven't found a good routine that works, just because things have changed so much. What I used to do was I would work out in the evenings after the kids would go down. So sometimes I'd work out at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and that was fine. It worked well. I think that was actually when I was the most consistent, to be honest, was when I would do that in the evenings. It was rare that I actually did a workout during the daylight time. But just with everything this year that has changed, I've started doing more of the workouts during the days. I know some of my last posts had a lot of my boys and their shenanigans in the backgrounds of my videos, which is fine. And that includes my husband and his shenanigans too. Sometimes it's so annoying, but it's funny because we're all out there working together, which is really nice, and it's good. But now that my kids are actually back in school, in person, and so I have a lot more time now. I'm still working from home, just mostly because our house is closer to the school and my office is not. So I'm still working from home, so I can be closer to them if I need to be. And so I have and my commute was anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour one way, depending on traffic. And so I've got a lot of extra time now. So I'm going to try to see if I could start doing my workouts in the mornings after the kids go to school. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. So
yeah,
but
you find where it works for you, and sometimes it changes.
Yeah, sometimes, especially on the weekends, I might do it in the morning or the mid-afternoon or whenever the boys are out there working out too. So they laugh at me, I laugh at them. It's all good.
Right. Do you have a motivational quote that you would like to share with the family?
So, yeah, well, I mean, I think it's motivational for me. Let me see. It says, let me see if I can make sure I get it right. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I get this right. Okay, so my boys do taekwondo also, and so I don't know the exact source of this quote, but their coach has this on a like a poster, cartoon kind of poster in the gym, and it says, "Everyone has a plan until you're punched in the face," and I feel like for 2020, it's a good quote because I think it kind of reminds me that you should have some backup plans and you need to kind of be resilient when you're under pressure. So, and it's kind of been true, especially in my work. So
That's excellent. I love it.
yeah, I need to find out who, or I need to try to figure out who actually said that because we're also redoing our website at work and I'm going to use that as my quote. So, I don't know. I always struggle with there's lots of very good motivational quotes out there, but I felt like this one fit my personality.
That is very memorable. What is important to you in your life that you would like to share with the Tamily?
I mean, I think my family is really important, and my boys and my husband, and just and even my sisters. Just keeping that relationship with family and making sure that you're putting them ahead of lots of other things, just because they're your family and they're very important to you. I know. We were very fortunate with my office to be able to convert to a work from home environment very easily. And so by doing that, it made me realize that, like, hey, I spend a lot of time with work. And if I have to sit in a space because I work on the computer, why not just sit at the space in the house with my family and spend that time, even if I'm maybe not always interacting with them, that I share the space with them. And so that's, I think that's a good lesson I've learned over the last couple of months, to really just, work's always going to be there and family is what's really important.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I guess that's a realization that a lot of us have had because of the crazy times of this year, but just the time spent in commutes and traveling and stuff, like, oh, and the money, like, oh my gosh, especially to think about jobs that now can really be done 100% from home and they're 100% effective. And that might not be the case for everyone, but obviously it's been the case for a lot of people.
And you know what? It's not perfect because there's different distractions at home. But you're right. Yeah, that commute time, so my youngest, he used to commute with me because he would come down to this little Montessori school by my office. So he would ride with me. Well, both boys did. And then when the older one went to his elementary school, then it was just me and the little one. And this year he started kinder. So I was like, I'm going to be driving all by myself. I don't want to do that anymore. So
yeah.
Definitely.
So we know a little bit of this, but tell us about where you live and what you do.
So I live outside of San Antonio, Texas, and I am a CPA, so I'm an accountant and number cruncher. Yeah, so I own my own business I have two other business partners, and we have a really great team of all women that work with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love stuff like that from the Tamily.
Yeah, and I don't know if Kate. Well, I'll just tell. And Katie is. Yes, I am a big nerd. Thank you, Katie. But Katie can also join that category too. She's actually one of our team members, so she's been working for. Crossed over to the world of being a tax nerd. So
that's awesome. How did you discover the Tamily?
From Katie. Yeah, she, I knew that we always knew that she was kind of doing these workouts, but then when she started streaming and with on Instagram, I was like, what is she doing? What is it? And I'm like, that kind of looks cool. That looks challenging. Maybe I can do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome. She brought you in.
yeah. And she's tried to get the other two sisters. And so I don't know where either one, I don't think they're as consistent. I mean, like I said, I haven't been as consistent, but I don't know that they're not fully on board yet. I don't think.
They might get there. We all have to do it in our own time.
Yes, for sure.
So, 3 of you are triplets, right? And then you have one other sister?
I am the other sister.
Okay. Gosh, you look very much like Katie.
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And then the 3 of them are the younger ones. So they're 2.5 years younger than me.
Oh, that must have been fun growing up with 3 triplet little sisters.
Yeah, it was it was fun. It was different. You know, they I like to pick on them. I was the big bully older sister. But no, it was good. I really don't know how my mom is sane to this day.
Seriously.
No, and my dad survived a whole house of women, so kudos to him.
Fantastic. I love knowing that there's triplets in the family. When did you first post to Instagram as part of the Tamily?
I forgot to check.
Maybe 2 years ago?
I feel like it was at least 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. I think no.
Did you dive right in with a video, or did you post like a picture of your shoes like a lot of us did?
I feel like I did a video. I had actually started posting on Instagram with my sister-in-law for doing some yoga, and yoga challenges is actually how I started posting first. And yoga was fine and good, and I still like it, but I just got bored. But some of the challenges were fun, and then Katie was like, "Baby, you're gonna be posting yoga. You need to get on here and do this."
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, there's huge benefits, I think, to yoga, but I feel like it's kind of like it complements some of the aspects of Tracy.
Yes, I agree, and it does. I mean, I do like it, but like I said, I have a hard time sticking with it for more than maybe 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's how I am.
So I have one more question for you. If anyone else has any questions, please post them in the chat. I'll make sure we didn't miss any. So you have a couple more minutes if you have a chat question. But our last question for you is the most important. What is your favorite pizza topping?
I like pepperoni. It's good. I like it like crunchy and salty and maybe bacon too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pizza topping as well. A little less popular, but very good.
Yeah. But I like to put lots of veggies and stuff on top too. So, but I don't know, good old pepperoni.
Now I'm starving, especially because I worked out right before this interview. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for being our 110th Ask Tamily interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you would like to say to the Tamily while you have this audience?
I think you guys are all great, and every one of you is inspirational. As we see, whether you're posting or not, it's just really cool to know that there's lots of other women out there working out together, even though we're not together. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It was cool before this year, but obviously this year it's been so important.
You know what, and that's kind of I maybe kind of speaks a little bit to how of an entrepreneur that Tracy is. Mm-hmm. From a business perspective, her business model has always intrigued me. Mm-hmm. And how she's able to innovate and just continue. And I think her platform really helped people continue to maintain their workouts and kind of cope and have a little bit of time for themselves, especially with everybody being around you all the time.
Yeah.
I really think that was a very forward thinking of her, even though nobody can predict what happened.
Right.
I think it was just a really future looking business model that she has and still has and continues to develop.
Yeah.
So.
And the way she really like encourages the Tamily community and stuff, like, I mean, that's an integral part of making this work. And I mean, I just can't imagine for people that were going to a gym every day and then all of a sudden one day they couldn't go anymore. Like, it must have almost been kind of like, I don't know, grief or something for them to go through that. But we were just able to keep doing what we do and even enhance it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool, especially to see like people doing joint workouts together and then posting them. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for being an inspirational member of our community, Kylene, and being our 110th interview.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you. This interview is going to
Okay.
go right now onto the Ask Tamily page, and then we'll put it onto YouTube in a few days.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thanks. Bye, Tamily.
Bye.